Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Gorongosa, Paradise Reborn. It's a National Geographic documentary. It's 45 minutes long. It's from 2022, so it's pretty new, but it goes back many decades through a period of Mozambique's wartime atrocities that left this once lush, gorgeous area, part of Africa, devastated. The lives of so many animals, from elephants and lions and water buffalo and zebras, went from sometimes to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of each, sometimes as little as a dozen or 20. You could literally count them on your fingers and toes, how many were left of each of these types of creatures in this area, once just bursting with them. And during a war with Portugal and a civil war and everything else that came out of it, animals were being killed and poached, and especially the elephants, for their ivory, just so they could sell them to buy more guns in order to perpetuate a war that just pretty much destroyed everyone. So that is the foundation from which this documentary starts. You get a little bit of war history from the eastern part of Africa, but also you get to see that elephants don't forget in some pretty traumatic and tragic ways. There are some elephants that have been around during those wars that are still around, and they saw their families slaughtered. They know the sound of gunfire. They know the sound of explosions. And when they see humans, they associate the two, and for good reason. And it causes all sorts of just tension. Let's just say sometimes the people who are there to help them even get rushed. So there are people, there's basically a number of people that have come from that area and abroad to try to replenish this land, bring in the creatures, transplant them from other parts of Africa, and bring them in there. Some are right away just boom, they breed like crazy, and now it's 10 times or more than what they had before the war. In some cases, like the zebras, it took a little bit more to get them to grow their population. But and again, whenever man tends to intervene with the animal kingdom, for good or bad, it tends to make things difficult. But you get to see the mission these people are on to change this once paradise back into a paradise, and that's what this subtitle is all about. So I say, if you want to see a tragedy turn into something of a triumph, and I think is something, and especially you love animals, and you like pangolins. You know what a pangolin is? Pangolins are one of the freakiest looking creatures. That's one of those right there. If you don't know what a pangolin is, yeah, imagine a small bear or dog covered in toenails. That's probably the worst way to describe it, and it doesn't sound like I want to get to know the animal, but they're cute, and they're just weird enough to not be your normal type of cute. So, yeah, you get to see them. They're actually the most trafficked of all the animals in Africa, I think, or just maybe Mozambique. But there were lots of them, and people will snatch them up because they curl up into a little ball and seem fairly unable to protect themselves for the most part. They can protect themselves, but you just pick them up and take them away, and they sell them for the meat, and also for what people believe are medicinal reasons, which are not real. So, yeah, there's a lot to see in this. There's lots of different creatures that you can see, rather than this type of documentary which is all about how glorious and majestic, and there's a storyline with some of the characters and they give them names and all this stuff. That's fun. Sometimes Angela Bassett just knocks it out of the park with those kind of things, or Morgan Freeman too. But in this case, we get a little bit of history, and we get a little bit of conservationism. It can bring back entire ecosystems, hopefully. for many years to come, barring additional wars. So that's all I got to say about that. It's not the kind of thing I would have normally just said, oh, I think that looks interesting. I think I'll pick that up. So yeah, if it wouldn't get selected randomly for me, I probably would have never watched it. But it's I don't think it's necessarily going to blow you away. But if you're interested in those types of creatures in that part of the world, well, this is obviously a must see for you. Let's pick tomorrow's episode and see if there's something else you might like. 99. Not going too far. 99. Oh my. Oh. It's another documentary, but a very different one. Very different one. This is sort of, it feels like it belongs attached to a different documentary we watched a little while ago. About this era in the early 2000s, all reviving around one of the greatest, not just U.S. national tragedies, but world tragedies, 9/11. This talks to the president who was in charge at that time. This is George W. Bush, the 9/11 interviews. Yeah. The one we saw a few weeks ago, days, I don't know, they all run together, was the Bin Laden tapes, or yeah, his computers and his hard drives and stuff. Yeah, but this, I'm not trying to be conspiracy theory or anything else. That's not the direction I'm going with this. Don't get me in that. But this is his interviews from his point of view. A lot of people feel different ways about the whole thing, but yeah, here we get to hear it in his own words. The George W. Bush 9/11 interviews on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.